So let's roll up our sleeves a little bit, because some folks, when you saw this advertised, thought, oh, wow, we're going to talk about one dimension of diversity. And the first one you might have thought about was, oh, we're going to talk about race. We will talk a little bit about race, and we'll talk about all of the other dimensions. So are people familiar with the diversity wheel? If you are, just give me a thumbs up. If not, you can shake your head. Okay, so I see some no's. I see some puzzled looks. I see a few nods, but a lot of no's. Okay, so let me break down this diversity wheel. What you see right now on the slide is John Hopkins' version of the diversity wheel. I like working with this one because it's very simple. If you really want to go deep, you can check out Loden and Rosner's 1991 model. Loden and Rosner created the first diversity wheel. Sam says he or she says that they don't see a slide. Can everyone see that slide? Okay. Sam, it might be, I'm not sure what platform you're looking. You might want to come out of Zoom and then pop back in. But everyone else can see it. So that makes me think there might be something wrong with your platform. So when you take a look at this wheel, like I said, it's rooted in Loden and Rosner. You can Google diversity wheel Loden and you'll learn all about the history. Another group of researchers, Garden, Swartz, and Rowe, have adapted the model, and then Loden, she continues to tweak the model because it's so powerful. I like the Hopkins wheel because it's super simple and it's perfect for a training like this. I want you to pay attention to two things. There is an inner wheel, and then there is an outer wheel. So our inner wheel, or our inner ring, relates to things that are visible. When you look at me, you probably assume that I am an African American woman. I am able-bodied, most likely straight, probably American. Again, I'm a woman, so I'm female. You probably think that I am about, well, I shouldn't even ask this one because people will say, I don't want to insult you. You probably think I'm 21 or you think I'm young. Then there's this whole world of things that we don't necessarily see. You don't know anything about my family of origin. You don't know anything about my political beliefs. I've told you a little bit about my education experience. I've also told you about my work experience. Thank you, Maria. 18 was the magic number. She gets the prize. I haven't told you anything about my religion or how much money I make, or even that I speak fluent Spanish and I could do this training in Spanish if I needed to. You don't really know much about my organizational role, except I work for Personnel Perspectives and I'm one of their trainers. This diversity wheel is really important because often we make assumptions about people, and a lot of these categories need to be unpacked. And I say that they need to be unpacked because within each of these categories are certain privileges and certain access and, or dare I say, oppressions that exist. What do I mean by that? So if I told you, yes, I am an African American woman, but I also am starting to go blind in my right eye, you would start to understand that how I experience the world is a little different from an African American woman that is completely, one of the words you will hear in this space, able-bodied. It's a completely different experience. When I go out and drive at night, I have to worry about, will I be able to see the road? Should I be on certain roads at night? If I made this more complex, I could tell you, actually, Even though I look like I'm an African American woman, I'm actually mixed. My mom's family is from Venezuela and my dad's family is African American. So I experience two cultures. Um, so all of these different categories will influence or have a different impact on your lived experience. And there are a couple things I want you to notice about this wheel. Because when we talk about diversity and inclusion, like I said, there are visible and invisible characteristics that we make assumptions about and that give us certain pieces of access. There are some dimensions that will make us comfortable or where we feel comfort. And there are some dimensions that will make us feel uncomfortable or even a little prickly or afraid or nervous or angry. Some of these categories have traumas attached to them. Some of them have positive experiences attached to them. For me, when I think about education, when somebody says, how did you get into the learning space? Why did you become a facilitator or a teacher? Because I have had the most amazing, amazing professors and the most amazing teachers. Now, I could contrast that with my sister who had a terrible experience going through high school and college, and now she's going to become a nurse practitioner. And every day I'm kind of rooting her on and saying, hang in there, hang in there. I know it's not easy. There's another piece that you won't see mentioned in a lot of D&I spaces, and it's this fourth bullet point, that there are emotions and physical sensations that arise somatically within each category. Now, this is like an emerging part of D&I. But when I say somatically, I mean in your body. So I want you to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to pay attention to what happens to your body. What sensation do you feel? Do you feel constriction? Do you feel openness? Do you feel lightness when I mention some of these categories? So if I were to talk about your age, what happens to your body? And you can just pop it in the chat room. Your age. Do you constrict? Do you expand? Okay, for some people, no change. Sometimes there's an emotion, Maria, yeah, you feel pride. Sometimes you don't have a feeling around it. Sometimes there's lightness. Sometimes there's questions. I see you, Arlene. Disbelief. Okay. Okay. All right. Close your eyes again. If I were to ask you about your race and your ethnicity, what comes up in your body? Your race and your ethnicity. Anger, proud, pride, proud, fortunate. There's a pause. Frustration. Some confusion. A neutral. Another neutral. No change. Not much. Okay. Fortunate. Shouldn't matter. Nothing. Indifference. Someone else feels on alert. Someone else feels really sad. So you start to see this whole range. What may not cause an effect in me may cause huge effects in someone else. We'll do one more. Close your eyes. And if I were to ask you about your mental or your physical ability, what do you feel in your body? Your mental or your physical ability? Proud, strong, proud, pride, good, conflicted, proud, thankful, currently down, fortunate, strong, competent, grateful, blessed, struggle bus. Depends on the day. Hard work, grateful, could do better, thankful, constantly changing. So we'll stop there. You can start to see that each of these categories, while we may not visibly see them, are loaded and they differ according to individual. What for somebody what for somebody is like, I'm super proud. For someone else, it's like, it's a minute by minute. It's a day by day thing. And then there's another piece that's super important that we think about when we're in this D&I space, is that all of these can be layered and they all can be interconnected. That's that idea of intersectionality. So when I say intersectionality, I mean, what is it like being I'm actually almost middle age. I'm not going to say my real age on live Zoom, but what is it like experiencing the world as a woman who is starting to go blind in her right eye, an African American and Latina woman who's middle aged and who is actually at a very high level within her organization. My experience and all of those different layerings create a different lived experience for me, as opposed to someone who might be a white male that's around the same age that doesn't have any type of mental or physical impediments, and that's high up or as high in the organization as